What's the money etiquette here in the USA? How do I ask my friends to pay me back lol? Do you tell them up front there is an expectation they pay? Generally in the US, the etiquette is if you host a party and don't say anything up front, the assumption is you are paying out of your own pocket. The way to host a cheap party is to host a potluck type party where everyone brings something. I guess if I was invited over to a party, I wouldn't presume I had to pay for food and drinks unless it was previously stated, because usually the host pays for everything unless it's a potluck. I don't throw parties that I can't afford to host. It sounds like you're expecting your friends to pay a cover fee. The solution is to ask people to bring something to the party. Hey, can you bring a bag of ice? Then ask someone else to bring chips and salsa. BYOB is also a thing. Bring your own beer. You are correct. The costs do add up. So just ask people to bring things. Or have the discussion beforehand. Is this a party all of your friends want to have and it just happens to be at your house? Then discuss who is paying for what. But if you're just throwing parties because you like to throw parties, you need to cover most of the cost. Unless you specifically mention that you want reimbursement for food, drinks and entertainment beforehand, it's generally assumed you are willingly taking on the cost as the host of the event, unless you specify that you are not paying or that it is BYOB. Why would anyone offer you money? The etiquette I'm aware of is to state up front if you expect expenses to be shared and how much it'll cost. TBH. If someone hounded me for money after the fact, I'd tell them to get stuffed, and I wouldn't accept any future invites from them. If you are hosting, unless you say something about there being a fee, the host covers the expenses. Well, did they know that you were charging a fee to come to your party beforehand? It's definitely not good etiquette to surprise someone with that after the fact. You should just ask people to bring booze and food. Sorry, but it's just not socially accepted to invite people over and then charge them for it. Money is almost never exchanged in social settings. People knock on the door holding a bottle of wine, not a $20 bill for the cover charge. It is completely normal to share in the hosting responsibilities, and everyone brings booze, food, or whatever. Good friends should be texting or calling in advance asking what to bring. I think you might benefit from being more clear before the party. I would love to have this get-together at my place, but I can't afford to pay everything. How about we make a party together and split the costs? If you want to, we can use my place for it. Or if you prefer, we can be at yours. If you just invite people over for a party, they probably think you will be paying for the food and drinks. The good news is that if you keep doing this, you won't have to worry about party costs anymore, because you won't have any friends. Are you discussing their contribution before you host the party? Or do you host and then just say, hey, can you chip in? Quote, good friends should be chipping in anyways, but if they aren't, when you invite them over, you should also ask if they can contribute in your original invite. If they start declining your invites, then you might be paying for friends, which would suck lol. Oh dude, inviting people over and then expecting them to pay for things is wrong. In my friend group, there are only a few people who are able to host regularly. So everyone brings alcohol and food to share. The invitation always says something like, soda and chips will be provided, but please BYOB, and a dish to share. If the event is more of a dinner, they will post a sign-up sheet so everyone can say what they plan to bring. I think you need to stop ordering pizzas and buying alcohol for everyone. If you offer to host and don't say prior that you will need help paying, then chances are they will assume you are just paying. If I need my friends to pitch in, I usually say, I can cover X, Y, and Z, but I will need help with A, B, and C. Then they offer to pitch in. Then right after I get the receipt for ABC, I send what the total is. Definitely don't wait until after the party is over to let them know. If I were invited to a party and got a reminder texts from the host to pay some made-up share of said party as if I was the rude one, I would just block that person and consider it good riddance. You constantly host parties and expect your friends to pay for it is what this sounds like. If I host a gathering, we pay. People have special requests? Bring it yourself. Don't like the beer in the fridge? Go get your own. You don't host parties and then charge people unless you make it known in advance that there will be a cover charge. But that's not how parties typically work. It is biased. It seems like you want to be a big shot and host parties you can't afford. It's different if it's 34 people over and someone says, hey, let's get a pizza, and everyone throws money's in and someone's short and you cover them. But no one hosts multiple parties through the year with pizzas, wings, and booze. Frats are typically the only parties that will have cover charges. If a friend invited me over for a party and there was booze and food, I'd be very out off if they tried to run me down for money the next day. If you're not telling them to pay beforehand, it's kind of expected for the host to pay everything. If you love hosting, but then you want everyone to pay them, you're not really hosting, you're just having a shared party where everyone's contributing. If you feel this strongly about everyone paying you back, then just stop hosting. When I host, I don't expect anyone to pay me back. That's the point of hosting, lol. People can take it in turns to host, and that way it balances out. You are being so rude. If you are hosting, it's free to the guests. If you want to charge them, you have to agree to the amount beforehand. But no one charges for a party unless it's something like a retirement dinner at work that people are pitching in for. Was pitching in brought up beforehand?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. etiquette is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.